All right, it is hour 4 of Inside the Birds live from Radio Row. Geoff Mosher here. Hour 4 brought to you by Ocean Casino and Resort. Who do we have we bring in? Not Adam Caplan, not Andrew DeCecco, but a good buddy of mine, Zach Gelb from CBS Sports Radio. Zach, you are going to do a great service to Philadelphia Eagles fans today. I predict. We have not discussed this. I'm going to ask you the question, and I think the Eagles fans are going to feel a little bit better. All right? You are a national sports guy, CBS Radio. You can listen to Zach Gelb. Just always has great one.
Coming on tonight.
Julian Love.
Which, by the way,
perfect.
Free ride. We're going to have a conversation with him because I want to know if he thought before the start of the season that the Eagles are winning the Super Bowl, because not many people were picking them to win the Super Bowl before the start of the season. Now, all of a sudden, Nick Sirianni's just on a free ride. That's an absolute disgrace.
So that's where I want to start off. How good are the Eagles in your mind,
Great.
and do you think they're going to win the Super Bowl?
Yes, I do. The only concern I have, from 1 to 53, I look at the Eagles, better roster. But then you just say they got Mahomes and they got Kelsey on the Kansas City Chiefs. And that's the only reason you have like a little bit of skepticism. But I think this Eagles defense is going to be dominant. I think Hassan Reddick is going to make a big turnover in a big spot, maybe win Super Bowl MVP at plus 4,000. And the Philadelphia Eagles, and maybe the great success story, one of the greatest success stories that I've ever seen, in Howie Roseman, is going to rise to the top again. Because how many times has this guy been counted out? How many times have I tried to say that Howie Roseman should be fired? I'll tell you a funny story. My roommate years ago is related to Howie Roseman.
What?
And I would advocate that Howie Roseman should get fired, and then we would share like an apartment together.
Oh my God.
So I would get back to
get
my
phone
apartment
calls?
after doing the show, and he'd be like, "You're killing my cousin." I go, "Well, he needs to do a better job. He should get fired." And he shut me up very quickly.
He's done a pretty good job.
Made some mistakes with Justin Jefferson, not drafted him.
He made up for it?
He got J.J. Arcega-Whiteside and Jalen Reagor too.
Yeah.
But he's made up for it. And Howie Roseman, Howie, I'm sorry, I apologize, I was wrong. All hail Howie. He's been sensational. Eagles win the Super Bowl.
Mea culpa. All right, so that's why I say you're doing such a service for all of our watchers and listeners. So in Philadelphia, and you know this, you went to Temple.
Yes.
You work with me at the Fanatic, so
You're
you
listening to the wrong national radio host.
That's what I'm
the
saying.
thing.
It's not just it's three guys, right? It's Brandon Ayuk, it's Julian Love.
Oh, Brandon Ayuk. Can he shut up? Seriously. Brandon Ayuk, you lost. Your team got embarrassed. It's that simple. It's the same thing as a few years ago when Chase Claypool got destroyed by the Browns, and he gets on Twitch and he goes, "Oh, well, Kansas City's going to take care of them the next week." You didn't beat them. I get it. Brock Purdy got knocked out of the game. People hate to see that. How about you block Hassan Reddick?
How about that? How about you do that? Exactly. So this is my point. When you're just like us, when you're talking to people here in and around, you're doing your interviews with CBS Radio, aren't you almost always talking to someone and asking about the Eagles, and they're saying good things, positive things? Because the people think that Philadelphia's being disrespected.
Oh, well, first
but
off,
not on a national level.
I don't think so, and I love Philly. I lived there in 7 years. I went to Temple for 4 years, and say they're 3 years after college. And Philadelphia is one of the greatest cities in America. But the whole they don't like us, and
we don't care. We know that that's
people
a phony.
don't like you, but you do care.
Yes,
okay,
absolutely.
That's simple, and this is why I love Philly, because it's very petty. It's the one person. 99 people can say positive things.
Right.
Then one jackass says something, and all of a sudden it's, everyone's counting us out. It's the underdog. Most people that I talked to this week think the Eagles say what I said. The Eagles should win the game. The Eagles will win the game. The only reason why there's I don't know is because of 15 and 87.
15 and 87. Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce.
Yep.
All right. Yeah. So are you saying this is what I think? I think the Eagles will probably be up by 3 to 5 points in the fourth quarter, maybe 10 minutes left, score a touchdown. So now you're up 2 possessions,
which is huge.
And that's what I think is going to be the difference in the game.
If it's a 1 possession game,
that's what I fear for them.
And Mahomes has the ball. Even though I went to college with Hassan Reddick, and I love Hassan Reddick, and I think he's going to make a big play. And Brandon Graham has been sensational this year, coming off the bench with a career high 11 sacks. You will be sweating. You will be throwing things at your television set if Mahomes has the ball late. And I know people celebrate the Brandon Graham play with Tom Brady, but every Eagles fan would be lying to you if they said they were not nervous and they weren't almost about to have a heart attack when Brady had the ball and was starting to try to drive down the field. And then BG made the biggest play in Eagles history.
Yeah, the exception isn't always the rule. So if that were to happen again, and this time Mahomes and, only a 3-point lead, then I think everybody would be pretty nervous.
Yeah, you have to be. That's how great this guy is. And just when you think that he's going to be a non-factor with the ankle. He does what he did 2 weeks ago up against Cincinnati Bengals. The dude's just unreal.
Yeah. So tell me about Reddick. Did you know him from college at all?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Hassan Reddick, I'll never forget this. I was coming out of my fraternity house and I was walking to a practice because Matt Rule invited me down to the practice. So got a little banged up the night before.
Yeah, you did.
4:35 in the morning, I have to go to an early practice. So I'm walking over, I'm like, oh, God, this is like brutal. Why did I commit to go to this? But you're trying to grow your career at the time and also have fun in college. And Hassan Reddick said, watch this linebacker. He'll be all over the field. That was Hassan Reddick. A few years later, Hassan Reddick is getting drafted in Philadelphia to the Arizona Cardinals, and he goes in the first round. And I'm done. I got Hassan on the Fanatic with Anthony Gargano and Deion Dawkins because I'm very friendly with Deion Dawkins, and I got them an autograph deal afterwards. So I saw Hassan 2 weeks ago after the NFC title game in the locker room, and it's just like it's unbelievable because this script, I didn't think it would go to this, but I knew he was better. I would call him the Energizer Bunny at Temple, and I would have friends when I did the Temple games for the student radio station that would say, all you do is talk about Hassan Reddick because it was so obvious how good of a player this guy was going to be, and the story just keeps on getting better and better.
It's amazing they didn't know what to do with him for 2 years.
Shame on the Cardinals for not knowing how to use him. His last year in Arizona, gets a double-digit sacks, and goes to Carolina.
And they still let him walk.
Yeah, they didn't have the money, I guess, to keep him there. And then he goes to Philadelphia, and for him to be home, the hometown kid grew up less than 15 miles from Lincoln Financial Field. It's a great story.
All right, last thing, because I know you got to go. Matt Rule going to win at Nebraska?
I think Matt Rule's going to put Nebraska in a spot to succeed. I know it did not work in the NFL.
What is succeed? Make a bowl.
That's the tough part in the Big Ten.
Yeah.
Because they're going to be in the same class as Michigan and Ohio State.
Yeah, you got USC and UCLA coming in.
But I also never thought, and you're a Penn State guy, right?
Yeah, I was going to say you missed a school in there.
Yeah. Well, no, I don't want to bring up a bad memory for you, but Temple kicked the crap out of Penn State that one year.
I was at the game.
They had Lincoln Financial Field sold out against Notre Dame. Almost beat Notre Dame. I still can't stand Kavari Russell to this day when he had the interception against PJ Walker. And who would have ever thought for 1 year, like Temple football was more talked about than the Eagles? It was crazy.
I did the pregame show for the Fanatic in the parking lot before that game, me and Eitan Shander, and I couldn't believe how amazing that was.
And then he goes to Baylor. That program was down and out. He brought him back. So I think I trust Matt Rule. I believe in Matt Rule. I know it didn't work out in the NFL. The guy's a wonderful college football coach.
He is a good college football coach.
His ass off.
I am worried about it because now I have to root against him because, he's going to come bring Nebraska into Happy Valley. They're not going to win. They're not going to win.
Relevant Rose Bowl victory that you guys had.
And listen, none of our victories are irrelevant.
Lowest rated Rose Bowl in forever.
Now you sound like a bitter Temple fan.
No, I'm not. I just tell her how it is because I once went up to State College and someone said, "Where do you go to school?" I said, "Temple." They're like, "Oh, where's that?" I'm like, "Where are you from?" They're like, "Oh, on the main line." I go, "You know where Temple is."
Yeah, absolutely. They do.
Cult snobs at Penn State. Penn State's fine. You know what institution I really don't like? Syracuse. And I know I'm in a place right now.
Brother, we are together on that. All right.
The whole media is Syracuse. So I'm going to say this. I'll say it loud because I don't need to whisper it. Jim Boeheim, done.
Overrated, done.
He's a great coach, but the last few years, he's been insufferable. And the guy's acting like a jackass right now.
Right now, Jim Boeheim has been that way for years.
Don't ask him the right question.
All right. Good stuff. When can we hear you next on CBS Radio?
Monday through Friday, 6 to 10 p.m. Eastern, 3 to 7 p.m. Pacific. And I think the best broadcasts we do are the ones that didn't air when I ran into you over the summer at Maynard's.
Yes, you did.
I'm in Maynard's down at the shore. I look up, I go, is that Geoff Mosher?
That was me.
Holy crap.
Now, you are unmistakable.
I'm a large man.
You're a huge human being. Yeah, I look up. It was more that I looked up and saw you.
Dana White was on our show yesterday. He goes up to me, he goes, "You're a large bleeping dude." So it happens.
Well, good, man. Thanks. Appreciate you joining us.
And look,
have a great rest of your week.
There's a Super Bowl hero in Zach Ertz.
Zach Ertz will be stopping by this show very soon at some point. If not today, then in the next 2 days. So
you have someone, Josh Weinfeld, should be able to get him on.
Yeah.
Say goodbye to Josh.
Yeah, I'd like to think I could swear. We've had those conversations. I don't want to bring that up here. But those conversations have been had. No, Josh is great. Ben, you're great too, man. Thanks.
You should also you up his percentage when it comes to your next contract.
Listen, get out of here before you used to put me in the hole anymore. All right.
You got it. Good to see you, Jack.
Have a good one, man. Take care. All right. The great Zach Gelb from CBS Radio. Now, Zach did go to Temple. He started off right after school at the Fanatic. We were working together at the Fanatic at the time. And I think we did a couple of shows together. Either that or we had some crossover appeal. But he's always a great guy. Very happy for his success. And let's see. So we got let me go through everybody that we've had and then some faces that we're going to have, if not today, then moving forward. And Adam Caplan should be back joining us. Andrew DeCecco has to leave. He's going to go to the Philadelphia Eagles post-practice press conferences. So tomorrow, when Andrew DeCecco comes back on with us, we'll be able to get his kind of feedback on what he got. He'll also be writing for InsideTheBirds.com, so make sure you check that out. If you've missed anything from the first 3-hour live streams, we've had Ross Tucker today, former Eagles tight end Clay Harbor, former Eagles quarterback and Super Bowl champion quarterback Jim McMahon. That was a great interview. Frank Caliendo, the great comedian and impersonator, stopped by and had a chat with myself and Adam. Frank Caliendo was awesome. LeGarrette Blount was on with us in hour 3 at the end. We had a really nice conversation with him, and we both agreed that we wanted to keep it going. We were coming up toward the end of the show. So LeGarrette did say he was going to try to come back with us at some point. Maybe not today. It might be tomorrow or the next day. But we have so much that we'd like to get into with LeGarrette about his time with the Eagles. But obviously, LeGarrette was a great interview, too. Working on some other people as media, as the action is unfolding here at Radio Row. Hope everybody enjoyed the Zach Gelb segment there. And I really wanted to have Zach come on because I wanted to continue to paint for you guys the picture that's going on here. And that's the Eagles, whatever disrespect you're hearing, whatever disrespect you're feeling because of Julian Love or Brandon Ayuk or whatever a Cowboy fan living near you or a Giant fan in your neighborhood might be saying, it's the opposite here. The Eagles are what you saw all year long. They've been just incredible as of an organization. And when you talk and walk around here and talk to people, even side conversations, a lot of it revolves around, man, I can't believe what Howie was able to do. I can't believe how, Jalen Hurts has developed. This team is so good. The offensive line, all of that. I mean, the Eagles are getting a tremendous amount of respect from the media here, from the coaches here. So if the Eagles win, you're not going to hear anything about this is one of the worst teams to ever win the Super Bowl. I mean, this is a number 1 seed. It's a number 1 seed versus another number 1 seed that is in the Super Bowl for the 3rd time in 4 years. All right. So you beat that team, and that just shows you, if the Eagles do, just how good of a team that they really are. All right. As I told you at the start, the hour 4 here of Inside the Birds Live on Radio Row is brought to you by Ocean Casino Resort. Go to get your game on at the Gallery Bar Book and Games in Ocean Casino Resort in Atlantic City this football season. Cheers your favorite drinks while cheering on your favorite team. Get in on a parlay all in the middle of a party. Go for the sports scene and go for the endless screens. Go to the Gallery. Go to Ocean. Go for the win. For more information, visit theoceanac.com. Must be 21 or older. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. All right, pretty soon Adam Caplan will be back. Now I see Greg Cosell standing here in the distance. We're supposed to have Greg on with us tomorrow, sometime I believe during the 2nd or 3rd hour of the live stream. Greg is going to be here all Super Bowl week. So those who are accustomed to seeing myself, Adam, Greg Cosell, and Jason Avant on Inside the Birds pregame live on Sundays, you will not have Greg, but Jason Avant will also be here for the game as well. But we have already made some overtures. We already have a commitment so that you'll have a few different faces on the pregame show, but they're going to be some of the best analysts in the industry because that's what we do on Inside the Birds pregame live. Andrew DeCecco, I mentioned, he's going to talk to the Eagles at their press conferences right now. The way it works, which I find really interesting, is in the morning, there's a morning press conference, which is the Chiefs, and that takes place about 8 to 9:15 a.m. And then you don't hear from the other team, the Eagles, until about 3 or 4 o'clock p.m. So the practices go on in between. There's really not much from a team standpoint as far as what you're getting unless you're getting into those interviews and those press conferences. But again, they're kind of bookended throughout the day. So you have the Chiefs very early in the morning, and you have the Eagles later in the afternoon. So if you've been kind of waiting around all day, wondering what's Nick Sirianni thinking right now, what's going on with the punting situation with Aaron Sipos, which of course I'm sure everybody's on the edge of the seat about, all that stuff will probably come out a little later in the afternoon, because if they're doing their media around 4 o'clock here in Phoenix, obviously it's not getting to those of you on the East Coast until a little bit later. So there's that. And again, working on a bunch of different people to come sit with us soon. I think we're going to have Brian Westbrook on Friday. And we are trying to get Brian Baldinger, the great Brian Baldinger, who does some of the best game breakdown, all video breakdown, all 22 breakdown. He did say he was coming in today and would be on Radio Row. So I'm looking around for Baldy. And if we don't get him today, we'll try to get him tomorrow or the next day. So a lot of stuff going on. And we are going to be joined by a guest right this moment, the sports doc.
Works with Adam.
Yes, I remember. Dr. David Chao. How are you, Doc?
Good.
Geoff Mosher.
See you.
Welcome
You
to
guys
Inside the
have-
Birds.
You guys are awesome, right? You guys got the team here, everything.
Yes.
All
Yeah.
right.
Thank you very much. Yeah. Well,
Thank
this is kind of historical for us, for Adam and I, and in our company here. It's the first time that, well, since we've been covering the team, that the Eagles made it to the Super Bowl. And then obviously we've gotten to a level where we can come out here and talk to some wonderful people like yourself.
I mean, look, I remember the Eagles in Minnesota. I was at that Super Bowl. I had a couple of friends on that team, and was thrilled to that the Eagles won, and they even got me into the team after party.
No, did you? Nice. Were you in the post game locker room with Meek Mill blasting and everything?
Oh yeah, I got video of that.
It was quite a scene.
It was quite a scene. Yeah, quite a scene there. It was fun. But you always root for friends. So I had a couple friends, and it was
Sure,
it was all good.
sure. So let me ask you, from a medical standpoint, obviously there's two really big storylines at two really big positions for this Eagles Chiefs Super Bowl. Both quarterbacks, so nurturing different type of injuries. Jalen Hurts with the shoulder, Patrick Mahomes with the high ankle. Give me just your take on them, because they've been playing through them both for the last few weeks.
Absolutely. I will fully admit that neither one is 100%, but then again, who is at this point in time? But in my belief, in looking at the injuries, Jalen Hurts is the healthier one of the two quarterbacks. Patrick Mahomes did very well in the championship game, and we had at Sports Injury Central his 6 score at a very optimistic 84 out of 100, meaning 84% effective. He probably was only 70% healthy, but the way that he throws off platform, he doesn't need to step into the ball, change arm angles, wrong foot throws. That's almost his norm, and he could distribute the ball underneath. We also knew he wasn't going to drive the ball deep, and he did in that game. He's 50% better than he was 2 weeks ago, or by the time of the game 2 weeks ago, but not 100%. And if you noticed in that championship game, he could not run to his left at all.
Right.
To the right, he was a little bit okay. He will be better this week, no question. But Jalen Hurts, I'm not sure why there's so much speculation about Jalen Hurts. I get it. He was honest. He talked about the soreness. I get it, but it's football. So let's go back to an analogy. I think it was 2019. Tyreek Hill, when he was with the Chiefs, dislocated that SC joint
Right.
to the point where he had to go to the hospital. That's a grade 4. Jalen's a grade 2. There's no question he's sore, but Tyreek Hill missed 4 games, played in 5 weeks. In the next 5 games, he had over 500 yards receiving, averaged 17 yards a catch. I mean, right? And so I'm not trying to be negative. You heard me. I'm, all good Eagles. My son likes the Chiefs, but what 10-year-old is not a Patrick Mahomes fan,
Of course.
right? I mean,
Yeah.
come on, right?
Yeah.
So, but look, Jalen Hurts, I would be more worried, and I'm not anti-Jalen Hurts. I'm more worried about rust than his shoulder. Why? He didn't play the final 3 games.
Right.
And if you look at the Giants game and the 49ers game, look at the game script. Did you need him to do everything you wanted him to do? So I don't think he's hurt is the good news. His numbers, he didn't run, but he didn't need to. And the 49ers had a mush rush where it contained Jalen Hurts. Certainly the second half, you're not going to throw or do anything. But here's where I'm not worried about throwing. The first 11 plays against 49ers, 8 were passes, and he looked pretty good. But then after that, he didn't need to.
Right.
And so his numbers don't look that good and all that stuff. But I think he's healthy. So that's the good news.
Well, that is great news. I think a lot of people felt that the emphasis on the run, and then he missed a wide open touchdown to AJ Brown. Now, maybe AJ just didn't get under it. Who knows? But I think people were putting, 2 and 2 together. 1 second. Josh, can you fix that webcam so our viewers can see us, please? Yeah, thank you. Perfect. If you can angle it that way and figure out a way to that's perfect. So a lot of people felt that what they were seeing there was the result of someone who was trying to either feeling it still in the shoulder area or favoring it or
Well,
something
here's
like
the thing. Okay. We at Sports Injury Central, SICScore.com, deal in coach speak all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. When Patrick Mahomes clearly was injured with the ankle, what did Andy Reid say and what did Patrick Mahomes say going into the AFC Champions game? He's fine.
Right.
He clearly wasn't 100%,
Right.
yet he was listed as full practice all week long. Right?
Right.
So they were like, nothing to see here. Don't blitz us. Nothing to see here. Right?
Mm-hmm.
If Jalen Hurts' shoulder were really hurt, you think he'd say
No.
one word about it,
Mm-hmm.
admitting that it's sore?
So you think there was reverse psychology going
He's
on?
not looking for an excuse.
Uh-huh.
I mean, he's a great quarterback, right? And so if it really were hurt, he probably wouldn't say a word, right?
Right.
I mean, come on. That's just the way the game is played.
Of course.
So I'm not really worried. I will say, in all fairness, I have some continued worry about Avonte Maddox.
Yeah.
Because not only the boot and the whole thing, but a turf toe is very hard for a corner. And he really wasn't tested.
Right.
So you can say he did a great job on defense, but he wasn't tested.
Right.
Brock Purdy couldn't throw the ball, right?
Right.
So that's going to be a question mark. And I got to give a medal to Lane Johnson.
That was my next question for you on Lane. Yeah.
But here's the thing. I mean, I just walked in with Jeff Schwartz and he's like, oh, I can't believe Lane's playing. Now, here's how he's able to do it. He's Lane Johnson.
Right.
He's really smart. He's really good. But we have to admit, this is not all pro Lane Johnson. This is Pro Bowl alternate Lane Johnson, right? I mean, he's trying.
I mean, the way he looks. Yeah. I mean, the numbers would suggest and the way he's kept Nick Bosa off the quarterback.
Well, here's the thing I have to say about this, and don't hate me.
No,
first,
please,
man.
please.
Okay. First of all, good news is it's right groin. If it was left inside, he'd have a harder time.
Right.
Like the haters of the world said he was offsides every play. That wasn't by accident to get the jump start. He was trying to beat the snap count and get back for Nick Bosa.
Sure.
He was almost laying on the ground like a panther, right? Nick Bosa. And if you watch his pass set, he's probably a yard deeper than the left tackle to cut off the angle.
Yeah.
So where's what Nick Bosa was able to do? He bull rushed him 1 or 2 steps back towards Hurts.
Mm-hmm.
But then watch the film. He kind of stops
Mm.
because they were on a stay in your pass lane rush deal, a mush rush kind of deal. Don't let Jalen Hurts beat you deal.
Sure.
Don't let him escape. Watch the film in that way. So to me, the biggest question mark is going to be the Chiefs are not dumb. Everyone looks at film, right? So what are they going to do? Are they going to perhaps put Chris Jones out there and really test it? Now, every move has a counter move. If they do that, maybe the Eagles run the ball up the middle where Chris Jones was, right? I mean, so every move has a counter move. But to me, Lane, it's not Patrick Mahomes, it's not Jalen Hurts, it's Lane Johnson. And what happens in that chess match, that's the main thing for this thing. And kudos to him for playing through.
Right.
I'm not hating on Lane Johnson. I'm saying he's
think
doing the near
superhuman.
impossible. Yes. And very hard to do. Mecole Hardman has a similar core muscle injury in my belief, and he's been placed on IR. Now, admittedly, a wide receiver, speed guy,
right?
Harder, and you guys have experience. Deshaun Jackson had that, right? And right.
Although Jason Avant, who played the same position, told us he's on our platform that he suffered the same injury during his career, like 3rd or 4th year, and instead of staying out, he just wound up compensating. He figured out ways to move that compensate. He felt the pain, but it wasn't blinding pain or didn't preclude him from doing what he's doing. When you watch Lane, do you feel that there are certain, like, it looks to us like he's a little crouched more? You said he's getting that extra jump quicker.
Yeah, the kick, the early kick, which is legal, right? Right.
Sure.
And so, but yeah, he's trying to make it work.
Right.
Is what he's doing. So to me, that's what I'm watching at the start of the game, first series, and the chess match that goes on there.
Yeah, they're gonna try to beat him up.
They're gonna try, right?
Yeah.
But, we'll see what happens, right?
Yeah. And how about Willie Gay? Obviously, I think it's the shoulder that he's dealing with, right?
He's fine. I'm not worried. Look, by this time of the year, it's the healthier teams that survive. So
Yes.
look, the Eagles are relatively healthy. The Chiefs are relatively healthy. A few little spots here and there.
Sure.
The Chiefs wide receivers, I do believe Kadarius Toney will play and do well.
Yeah.
Left inversion ankle sprain. Juju still a mystery knee injury from practice, but it's the Super Bowl.
Sure.
Eagle fans remember the magical healing powers of the week before the Super Bowl for Terrell Owens. I mean, right? I mean, there's everyone wants to play
Right.
if they can. Yes.
All right, tell our great audience about Sports Injury Central. And then before you do that, what you do is unique and tremendous. The way you have been able on at least on social media and Twitter to be able to break down what injuries are likely to be based on the video that you see is really something that I guess social media brought that on. I know there's been nothing like that.
Well, I feel like, I've been doing this for 10 years now at Pro Football Doc and a couple years now at Sports Injury Central, where now we have basketball, baseball, and football. And really what it is this, like when I started doing this, I was the only one doing the injury stuff, breaking the quote news or opinions.
Right.
But now Adam Schefter does it. And I respect him, and Ian Rappaport. And Chris Collinsworth on Sunday Night Football talks about the Ravens game, the Bengals offensive line having 3 starters injured. I mean, so it changes.
Right.
But what we do at Sports Injury Central, which is different, sicscore.com, we're the only place that gives you true injury analysis, not reporting. We don't say ankle questionable because the team said it. We're saying ankle and he's going to play and be fine.
Right.
Here's the player's 6 score. Injury analysis. In game, we said Brock Purdy tore his UCL. In game, we said Patrick Mahomes had a high ankle. And we have a panel of doctors that have all pro team sports team experience. And so the other way I explain it, and when I said this at home, my kids loved it, so I'll repeat it. They're fans of Hamilton. I don't know if you're
the play.
The play.
Yes.
Our doctors and our analysts were in the room when it happened. Okay. We were in the training room. We were in the locker room. We were in discussions with the GM,
Right.
etc.
Right.
We know the difference between players who can play through or not. And that's where we come to the conclusion that, look, on the high ankle of Patrick Mahomes, Mac Jones missed 3 weeks. Why? 70% healthy Mac Jones sits for Bailey Zappi. 70% healthy Patrick Mahomes plays ahead of Chad Henne.
Exactly.
And especially with all his off-platform throws that he routinely makes,
Right.
we thought he could adapt.
Yeah.
Right. And so nothing is cookie cutter. High ankle equals this, MCL equals this, core muscle equals this. A lesser player would not be able to play through it like Lane Johnson is.
Right.
But we also know Avonte Maddox is a big deal, given his position with the turf toe, as people are seeing. So that's what we add to the equation.
So now you were the team physician for the San Diego Chargers.
San Diego Chargers
for a long time, right?
17 years as the head team physician.
Right.
Correct.
So, and was there another NFL team you were with as a?
Well, I worked with the Vikings and Bears some.
Right.
I've worked with the Bulls and the Timberwolves.
So you got like 20 to 25 plus years in
but
this.
I was a head team physician with the Chargers. So I kind of, I don't try and when I'm the assistant, this, that, the other,
Right,
I kind of
right.
say,
Right.
that
All right. But
will take
even
credit.
with 17 years, which is quite a while, what was it like for you personally? I'm sure, I don't know if you were watching when it happened at the time, but obviously the DeMar Hamlin situation was something that took the NFL by storm and almost unseen.
I was watching and I did a Twitter live. We almost didn't do a thing because I said, look, immediately. At first, I didn't. Was it a concussion? Not sure. Right. They come back on commercial. They show the replay, and you can see on my Twitter timeline. I immediately said something to the effect of, "This is about the player, not the game. That is his heart. This is a big deal."
Yeah.
Right. The way he got up and then collapsed.
Yeah.
And then, obviously, when I heard word of CPR, and ESPN did a great job of not showing it, but looking at the faces of Josh Allen and the other players, I almost said we shouldn't do anything at Sports Injury Central. But then I decided if we don't, who's going to? And I went on Twitter Live, and I was a little more emotional than I wanted to be. I don't know DeMar Hamlin, but I know lots of kids like him, and I feel for him and his family. I was like, this is a big deal. And I talked about the potential of commotio cordis. But the big message I said was, if you're going to collapse, unless you're physically in the emergency room or the hospital, there's no better place than on an NFL field. Gary Kubiak years ago with the Texans as the head coach. I mean, you saw
Forgot about that.
25 people, AED devices, paramedics,
Yeah.
medications, drilling for this emergency action plan. And that's what I talked about that night, that day, and saying, well, he's getting the best care, and here you go. And the follow-up thing I said in real time is, I said, I've never hoped more for a football game to restart and be played, because I don't see how you can unless in the background people knew he was going to be okay.
Right.
And obviously they canceled the game. Now, here's the thing. Players and fans have all seen people go off on a spine board and a collar. Josh Sweat, real time Josh Sweat. I said, thankfully, don't think that's going to be serious, but good. Take care of him.
Yeah.
Be careful. Right. So you've seen that, and you've seen the thumbs up, and it's disconcerting to you as a player and a fan, but you've seen it.
Right.
Let me tell you something. Nobody has ever seen a medical person straddle the chest of somebody and start pumping.
Yeah.
And the players saw it.
Oh, you can see they're turning different colors on their faces.
And the fans in the stadium saw it.
Yeah.
Which is why I get Cincinnati fans are very polite, but I don't care if this was in Philadelphia.
Right.
Eagles fans who have a reputation for being loud and fun. I like them. Okay. You would think Eagles fans would throw beer and complain and boo about a game being called.
No.
If they saw what Cincinnati fans saw, they would have filed out in an orderly way as well.
Absolutely.
It was disconcerting to the fans as well. When they said the game was canceled, Bengals fans said, I get it.
Yeah.
And the
There were
Eagles
Bengals fans at the hospital.
right. And
Yeah.
the Eagles fans that were at the game said, I get it.
Yeah.
You know, because that's what they saw. And
Yeah.
it was a big deal.
Yeah, that definitely was. And thankfully things have worked out and he's
So
fine.
far,
So
and
far.
we're
Yeah.
cautiously optimistic he can return to play.
Yeah. Well, it'll be interesting to see if he,
Well,
does.
at least he will have the choice.
Right.
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 He will have the choice. He may choose to continue his life work and charity stuff or other things. You know, look, I don't know the kid, but for him to say, I'm sorry I put you all through this to his teammates. What? But you know, look, even if he can return to play, if his mom says, please don't, he seems like the kid who says, yeah, I'll move on. I have
Right.
other things that I can do in life. But if he can have the option, I think that would be awesome. And I think he may.
Oh, that would be a great comeback story.
That'd be
if
great.
you're able to do
Yeah.
that. Dr. Chao, really appreciate it. Where can
right.
people get more information on Sports Injury Central?
Well, go to sicscore.com, Sports Injury Central, or go to Pro Football Doc Twitter handle or SIC Score Twitter handle. We got YouTube videos, in-game stuff. Trying to get out there like you guys are.
Yeah, definitely. Well, you'll have to come back on with us then.
Absolutely. Love Adam.
Unfortunately, people want you to come on with them when something terrible happens to a player, but
Well,
that's-
I
that's-
deliver good news. I think Josh Hurts is healthy, so
There you
I
go.
appreciate those questions.
Yeah.
As
so you
I
have no concerns about him taking hits on the shoulder,
don't.
running RPOs,
I
zone
don't.
reads, things like that.
I don't.
That's
I really don't.
significant.
I really
that's
don't.
huge.
I really don't. But as there was a GM once who gave me a lot of grief and just, you're killing me with all the, Monday morning with all the injury news. You know what I said to him? And I'll say this to Eagles fans too. Although I'm delivering good news on Jalen Hurts. I said to this GM one time, literally, I said, you have to remember, I'm Paul Revere. I'm not the British. I'm not hurting the
Don't
players.
shoot the messenger.
I'm telling you the injuries are here. Okay. I'm not hurting the players. I'm not invading you. I'm just telling you how they're getting it.
That is such an NFL story of somebody getting mad at somebody else for just giving them the information, right?
Oh, that's the norm because you're always bad news. You're bad news. You're bad news.
Yeah.
I mean,
And the team you used to work for always seems to have bad news in the injury departments in the last 10 to 15 years.
well, everyone, it's so funny. Like fans always think their own team is most injured. We actually had a bad streak, then a pretty good streak.
Yeah.
And then after I moved on, they had a really bad streak. It wasn't because I left. I mean,
This year's was tough for them. I mean,
was
they
tough.
lost Posa, they lost Slater, they lost.
and the rib issues with
the
Irv,
quarterback got hit.
yeah.
Yeah.
Always. Here's what I say. Football is not a contact sport. Basketball is a contact sport.
Football's a
Football
violent
is
sport.
a collision sport.
Yeah, it's collision. There's a big difference.
Big difference.
Dr. Chao, really
All
appreciate
right,
it. Thank you very
Thank
much.
Jeff. All right.
Take care. Have
All
a
right,
good
thank
one.
you.
Dr.
Bye.
David Chao, everybody. Again, that's Sports Injury Central. Does an unbelievable job of breaking down the injuries on a week-to-week basis. I've never seen anything like it. Someone who's able to just kind of take the video, replay it a few times, see what he sees using his expertise, and then to the best of his ability, make a diagnosis on the spot. Now, sometimes things change, but he's every time I check out his Twitter feed and he's diagnosing something, the man is spot on. So I think that's good news that you're hearing. Jalen Hurts, in his mind, there should be no concern. Shoulder is not something other guys haven't played through. And maybe part of the issue that you were part of the reason that we've seen Jalen Hurts running a little less, being a little less aggressive, is because the last two games have not called for Jalen Hurts to be anything more than what he was giving them. I mean, the last two games have been a cakewalk for the Philadelphia Eagles for one reason or another. So really good stuff there from Dr. Chao. Really appreciate him coming on. Appreciate Zach Gelb from CBS Sports coming on as well. We're going to keep the fourth hour here a little short and kind of get ready to say our goodbyes, because tomorrow we're expecting another slate of hosts all around the spectrum. And I just received where I believe we're going to be able to get Brian Westbrook, B West, on at some point before we get out of here at the end of the week. Make sure you get in on the action with the Gallery's $10,000 big game sweepstakes at Ocean Casino Resort in Atlantic City, Sunday, February 12th. All you need to do is place a sports bet at the Gallery, and you will receive an entry into your chance to be one of 5 winners. Prizes include tickets to Aaron Lewis and an overnight stay, $1,000 free play, tickets to your favorite concert or game, and the grand prize, a 3-night stay in a luxurious suite and a $1,500 Ocean gift card. The Gallery's $10,000 big game sweepstakes, Sunday, February 12th, only at Ocean Casino Resort in Atlantic City. For more details, visit oceanac.com. Must be 21 or older. Gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. We will pick it up tomorrow, Thursday, probably around 10 a.m. here Mountain Time. So around noon to 12:30 Eastern Standard Time for those on the East Coast watching in the Philadelphia area. And again, have a full slate of good interviews. Anything that you didn't catch today in our 4 hours worth of live streams will be available on the podcast platform, on the YouTube platform. We'll have clips cut up. So if you missed anything, go there, and make sure you go to InsideTheBirds.com throughout today and the whole week, as Andrew DeCecco will be writing stories and giving you coverage from the press conferences and the games. So for Adam Caplan, Andrew DeCecco, I want to thank Ross Tucker, Clay Harbor, Jim McMahon, Frank Caliendo, LeGarrette Blunt, Zach Gelb, and of course, Dr. David Chao for joining us. I'm Geoff Mosher. You've been watching Inside the Birds live from Radio Row.